Have you ever wondered how the Berlin Wall worked? If no, if yes, let's find out in this video. Let's react.
Imagine having to split a city into two completely separate parts. Roads that used to connect are now dead ends. Your job on the other side of the city inaccessible, and the neighbor across the street that you used to see daily, you will perhaps never speak to him again. The Berlin Wall did exactly that, separating East and West for almost 30 years. For this video, I've animated the various development stages of the wall in order to understand the design of this unique piece of architecture.
Listen, it's hard to imagine because if you have not experienced it's hard to imagine how it's one day it's okay, you can like cross the street, another day there's a wall and there's guards, and if you're gonna cross and people don't care, if there's a grandma or your parents on the other side of the city, they will shoot you. They don't care. It's hard to imagine this.
This is how the Berlin Wall worked. Living in Berlin before the wall was built was a strange life. You could move around the entire city freely, but you were either an East Berliner or a West Berliner. After the Second World War, the victorious nations had divided the German city into several parts. The Soviet occupation zone ultimately became the territory of East Germany.
I just like, okay, I understand the logic behind it, right? Because armies of these countries invaded like Berlin, and that's why they split it. But this is such a mess. Imagine splitting city into 4 parts. 4, Carl. That's a lot. That's gonna be a mess.
Socialist state, and the western part of Berlin remained legally occupied, but in all practicality, it belonged to West Germany, a capitalist state. Socialism and capitalism, 2 different nations, and even 2 different currencies, separated only by streets. Trains connecting the different parts of the city would make announcements: next station, last stop in the eastern zone. Many people lived in one part of the city but worked in the other. East Berliners took jobs in the West in order to benefit from the stronger currency, while West Berliners got their haircuts in the East at prices that were much cheaper to them. And
man, that's such a business, but nobody guess what was coming, man. Nobody guess. Like the probably the governments didn't benefit from this like thing.
In a way, both systems tried to outdo the other. In West Berlin, a multitude of stores sprang up on the Kurfürstendamm Street, shop windows filled with the latest brand name products of Western consumer culture. While just a few streets away in East Berlin, there was Stalinallee, a street that was transformed into a boulevard full of buildings in the style of socialist classicism. But this open coexistence of 2 systems wouldn't last long. On the 13th of August 1961, Berlin woke up to a divided city. The East German government closed the border, which means that families were split apart.
This is
Though
crazy.
officially stating that this was necessary to protect their country, it was an effort to stop their own citizens from fleeing to the West.
Yes.
Well,
Of course, nobody would love to live in social state. Why, man? There's no benefits of that, you know? Like they taking away everything you have and not giving opportunity to grow. Not very nice. And also they treating you not very nicely, because Germans were treating Russians in Russia not very nicely also. So that played a part, probably.
opportunities, wages, and freedoms seemed greater. At the start, this was just a wall in name. It mostly consisted of fences and loose pieces of barbed wire, manned by guards. There were some unguarded stretches, and it was even possible to jump across.
Just run away.
To make escaping more difficult, construction immediately began on a more permanent wall, made out of concrete and topped off with barbed wire coil around a Y-shaped metal arm. But this is not how the wall looked everywhere. A shortage of building materials meant that in the first years, just 10% of the border was built like this. And there was another issue.
Okay, question for my German auditory, for the thinking guys. And what do you think, guys? How long was the Berlin Wall? Let me guess in the comment section without looking in the Google. Just a wild guess, please, and I will know that you had a guess. Okay, I'm thinking. Let's say. 70 kilometers. I would say 70 kilometers.
Sometimes the border between West and East Berlin went straight through housing blocks, houses that now had to become part of the wall. The East German authorities forced people out of their homes and filled the windows with bricks.
This crazy.
Sometimes,
man.
however, they would forget a window.
Yes, and there's escape, opportunity to escape.
17, 1962, Peter Fechter discovers one such house, making up part of the wall. Peter is frustrated with the East German government as they won't let him see his sister that lives on the other side of the wall. Together with his colleague Helmut, he fantasizes about an escape to the west. The two of them see people inside the house, and in order not to be noticed, they take off their shoes and quietly creep in. By sheer luck, they quickly find the open window, and from here, they have a clear view of the road to freedom. A fence, then a clear strip, and finally a wall.
Nice. You can like, I mean, it's not nice, but I mean, you can drop some clothes over here or jump over, yes, and over here drop some kind of I don't know, wood, yes, and run up the wood and drop clothes over here and just get through. That's what I would do. I don't know if I would succeed, man, but I love freedom, man. Nobody can stop me from being free, so I would do that. That's for sure.
It seems doable, except for the fact that they are in plain sight of the nearby border guards. Suddenly, they hear voices behind them, and it is now or never. Peter and Helmut jump out of the window and climb the first fence. Then they are spotted, and immediately the guards open fire.
Oh no, it was so rough.
Helmut
Literally, they was opening fire. This is crazy.
dashes across the strip through a haze of bullets. As he scales the wall, he looks back and he sees his friend Peter frozen in place. The guards are closing in further, and they will have a clear shot soon. Helmut screams, and Peter finally springs into action. He makes it across the strip, but as he jumps up to scale the wall, he is hit mid-air and slumps down.
Oh no.
Helmut can't help his friend. An entire 50 minutes passes as a crowd of onlookers gathers to see Peter lying on the ground, slowly dying at the base of the wall.
And those soldiers didn't even evacuate him? It was crazy, man.
Tragic stories like Peter Fechter's
Nobody cares about people, man.
were widely covered in the West. But for the East German authorities, the only lesson learned was to increase the wall.
Okay, let's go.
Over the course of decades, the wall is consistently upgraded, with more and more increasing security features. What once was a single wall soon became a brutal border strip, cutting the city further and further apart. As improvements to the wall were made, escape attempts shifted to new methods, and the wall would be expanded again.
Anti-tank, anti-tank thingies over here. This is crazy, man. This is crazy.
The wall would be expanded again, a back and forth that was repeated until the last version of the wall was built. The version of the wall that became famous. From 1975 on, the East German authorities rolled out this version of the wall, a border virtually impossible for anyone.
Take a look at this gap. It's huge. It's huge. Like what? A couple of, like 100 meters maybe? Maybe, yeah, 20, 50 meters. Man, you need to make this run and get through past the wall and then hope for the best, man. Hope for the best. And there's a tower over here. It's
and
crazy.
This is how it generally worked. Coming from the east, only the visual barrier made of concrete slabs can be seen. This was done so that the exact border fortifications are not visible, as this knowledge could be used to plan escape attempts. Just behind this barrier, the ground is covered in so-called Stalin's grass. These are mats made of steel needles that would pierce the foot of
God
anyone
damn.
trying to jump across.
God damn, they were masochists. Oh my goodness gracious. Imagine you just pass the wall, you jump and like, bam! And your feet is effed up, man. Scheiße.
Next
Scheiße,
up
man.
is a signal fence consisting of barbed wire stretched over concrete posts.
It looks more like electric wire, I would guess.
Anyone trying to scale this fence would quickly press the wires together, triggering an alarm and notifying the guards in a nearby watchtower. Watchtowers were manned 24/7 by 2 to 5 soldiers. These soldiers had a clear view of the whole border, with orders to shoot anyone on sight. Trying to use brute force to break these sections would not work either, as behind the signal fence are several rows of tank traps,
Tank traps. Interesting.
barring anyone from driving through with a vehicle. In the middle of this border zone is a path for soldiers to patrol the area, oftentimes accompanied by dogs. And behind this is the so-called death strip, a stroke of dirt stretching for miles in every direction, in full sight of the guard towers. Hiding is impossible. And if
Yes.
anyone somehow made it past here, they reach a part that is easily recognizable: the wall facing the western side. In contrast to the old wall, these elements had a foot-shaped bottom, which meant that no holes in the ground were needed for their construction.
Listen, I have a question. Can you call from East Berlin to West Berlin? If yes, then you can like manage some people, organize them from so that they come to the wall, and maybe they bring some like ropes or something like that to help you. Probably they did it like they were sending like letters with the pigeons, or shooting letters, communicating like that. No doubt about that. I even heard there were people who were digging under the wall.
And instead of barbed wire on top, there were now pipes made of asbestos concrete. These pipes provided stability for the wall elements, and the East German authorities also hoped that they would decrease the prison camp feeling of the previous wall. But this was not the only reason for the change. The new concrete used was extremely smooth, with nothing to grasp onto. One thing the authorities didn't consider, however, is that this smoothness made the wall an easy target for graffiti from the western
Wow.
side.
I remember
Graffiti that
this
would
is famous like former USSR the general director, I don't know how it's in English, Gensek, Brezhnev, Ilyich Brezhnev, and the dude from Germany, I don't know his name, mention in comment section if you know.
Dominate many of the 45,000 elements that were placed in Berlin. Artworks that would often mock the East German government resulted in an open gallery of sorts, highlighting the harsh difference between life in the West, where free artistic expression was possible, and life in the East, where this was unthinkable. Exact numbers of victims from this wall are disputed, and it is something that to this day is being researched. But over the years, it was many who, just like Peter Fechter, were hoping for a better life on the other side of the wall.
Yeah, very sad.
But the Berlin Wall was only a small part of the division of Germany. In addition to Berlin, the whole country was also divided into 2 parts, and some people made daring attempts, risking their lives to try to get to freedom. For example, the 2 friends Günter Wetzel and Peter Strelzik, who wanted to build a better life for themselves in the West. And after coming across an article about hot air balloons, an insane plan was born. The 2 decided to build their own homemade hot air balloon to escape across the border.
Those guys wanted desperately to get out. Desperately.
After everything is sewn together, the burner is started and the balloon takes off. But then, immediately after taking off, a huge hole is torn in the top of the balloon, and they could crash to the ground from over 6,000 feet. I made a complete video about this spectacular balloon escape, with some of my most elaborate animations and illustrations.
Okay guys, if you want me to react to this video with balloon escape, let me know in the comment section. Let's gather some likes, I don't know, like 30 likes, and let's do a reaction on this one if you want.
And I was able to interview Günther for this project, who told me how the daring escape attempt went.
Plötzlich kamen vom Boden 3 Scheinwerferstrahlen auf uns zu. Und nach kurzer Zeit ist auch unsere Flamme ausgegangen.
So overall, it was a heavy life back in the day. Imagine living in a city where you are, or your parents live on one side, you live on other side. They live better, you live worse because there's no opportunities to grow. Literally, there's no money, and you are basically a slave of the system. I bet people were so happy when they turned down that wall. By the way, I was in London, and in London I saw the part of this wall in a London museum, and I was fascinated, you know. I love history, and that was something special when I saw that wall, you know, part of the wall. I was like, yeah, this is the history, man. This is something special, and it's hard to describe with the words because it's so energetically powerful, you know, this piece of wall, you know, because it shows the past, it shows the communist system, you know, it shows the splitting of Germany, of Berlin by other countries, you know. And this is hard to explain with words what I felt. So guys, thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell for notification. Let me know in comment section what to react next. See you next reaction videos. Bye.